Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. Well, hello, lovelies. It is a live show. Welcome to Tuesday. Hi, Deborah. Good to see you. Very impressed with your pictures. I know exactly what you're talking about when you say that it hasn't shown up on the scale, but you can feel it in your clothes. And I'll tell you what, your clothes don't lie. So understand that the scale isn't the be all end all. The scale is just one measuring device. Just one. Jeanette and Jocelyn, hello. Good to have you here. You know, we are still having our Cyber Monday sale, and we have a few leftovers from Black Friday. Just letting you know, you don't want to miss out on this. You honestly don't want to miss out on this. Really, this is the best sale of the year, and people have been using it to stock up. I mean, we have seen people buying 12 and even 24 bottles of supplements. What a good idea. Hello there, Catherine. Hello, Martha. It's so good. It's so good to see you all. Now, if you go to savingdinner.com/Monday, you're going to see our cyber deals for Monday. And believe me, every ebook that we are offering, everything is all 50% off. It's a screaming deal, y'all. Go take advantage of that. And while you're at it, you can also look at some leftovers that we have from our Black Friday sale. Because who doesn't like leftovers on Thanksgiving? Right? I know I do. So cheers. I don't know where Mother Hen is, but cheers. Here's to you, Mother Hen. This, by the way, is a new product. I told you we're taking things away, but we're adding new things. This is a brand new product. Quite delicious. And I will just drop a hint. It is not crave water. Okay? I'm really excited about it. I will share more about it as the time for it coming out comes closer, which is probably going to be in January. So, excuse me, I have a runny nose. I'll tell you what, I went on a little hike with my doggie this morning, 23 degrees and wind chill. Who knows what the wind chill was, but there were gusts of wind, and I'm still cold. I am still cold from that. And the dog went in the water. Dogs don't care. They just go into the water. They do things anyway. They do what dogs do. They're not tender-footed. Did you notice that with your dog? That's how it is with my dog. Today we have a great, today we're going to be talking about patience because I need a heavy dose of this. And oftentimes we skip over the patience part when we're thinking about the process, the journey, whatever it is that we're going through. And when I saw today's quote, this is the first time I've seen this week's quote, I went, you know what? These things meld. And I'm telling you, I never line up our quotes of the week with what it is that I talk about on Tuesdays. But today's it just could not be a finer melding, if you will. All right, this is it. It's from Nikki Rogers, whoever that is. I don't even know who that is. Strength doesn't come from what you can do. It comes from overcoming what you thought you couldn't. I'm going to repeat that. And if you don't have this written down, well, cheers, Nancy. Yay. I'm glad you're here. This is our new stuff. I'll tell you all about it later. Anyway, strength doesn't come from what you can do. It comes from overcoming what you thought you couldn't. Bam. That is a cosmic 2x4. Hello, Alice. Good to have you here. And what I have found, and what today's talk is called, is finding power in patience. Because again, patience is one of those things we want to skip through. We want the results, don't we? We want to get to where we want to go. And we forget half the fun is the road trip. We forget half the time that the memories are made is on the trip to the place. And this is where we learn about ourselves. This is where the resilience comes from and the inner strength that we never knew that we actually owned. And when we are acquiring new skills, it especially shows up that this thing called patience has no footing whatsoever in our lives. We dismiss that and we want to get to the thing, don't we? Raise your hand. You know it's true. So this component, this crucial component that is going to get us through to the next place and help us to become all that we need to be and to acquire that new skill is called patience. Because we have to allow ourselves the time and the mental space to gradually absorb what it is that we're trying to learn, trying to execute on, and yes, even have mastery over. It's a new concept, it's a new technique, it's a new thing. I'm trying to do this right now in the gym. I've worked out in the gym with weights on and off, but I certainly haven't mastered it. I've almost like semi-entertained the thought of maybe I should just get my personal training certification just so I have that level of expertise. Or maybe I just double time it to the gym and stay the course. That's a thought. So I just want to put it out there that we've all heard that patience is a virtue. We all believe that. It's true. I mean, aren't you so pleased that somebody was patient with you when you were learning to do something? I was. Or you were, on the other hand, were at the whim of somebody who was impatient with you as you were trying to learn something too, which gave you a derogatory, even a traumatic experience. So this thing called patience is absolutely crucial. It's not just a virtue, though. It's a necessity in learning. And if we don't bring patience with us on this journey, then we'll lose our way. And oftentimes we'll get impatient, right? And we'll just say, see you later. Irish goodbye it. It's not worth it. But this is what will dramatically transform your experience if you bring patience along for the ride. So to understand this fully, we have to look into the science behind it. And of course, there's neuroplasticity involved. And that's the brain's ability to reorganize these different thoughts that are coming your way. And it helps you strengthen certain neural pathways and weaken certain neural pathways, which is one of the things that we want to do. Unfortunately, a lot of us have really strong neural pathways that we really don't want in our lives. A lot of the negative thinking is based on that. But as you practice a new skill, a new thing that you're trying to do, you're going to find yourself and your brain, by the way, gradually adapting to this new thing, gradually saying, okay, I'm all in, I'm going to do this stuff, and forming these and strengthening these pathways so that that new skill not only gets formed, but you start to master it. You start to develop some expertise. You start to have some confidence in that skill. It takes time, it takes patience, but it's really, really crucial. And it's this part of that awkward phase 1 stage of developing this. But I think it's really important to talk about because that's the thing that's going to hold us together when it feels like all of it's falling apart. And then there's this thing called the myelin sheath. Myelin sheath is kind of this fatty coating that goes on the end of nerve endings. And the reason that this is so important is because once that myelin sheath is built, it increases the brain's signal strength, speed, and accuracy. So in other words, instead of feeling so awkward and weird, like, what am I doing? You're sitting there holding weights. What am I doing? This myelin sheath is recognizing, okay, you're doing bicep curls. You know how to do these. You just lift it up, and there's confidence that comes with that. But that's your brain saying, hey, we've got this. We know how to do this. And that's your myelin sheath. And I'll tell you what, that's also a part, as you're developing those neural pathways and the myelin sheath, it takes time. But it comes. There's a day when it comes. And if you know, suddenly all of a sudden It just doesn't feel so weird and awkward and not you anymore. It feels like a part of what you're doing. It's really kind of a cool thing when that happens. The other thing that it does, and this is really cool, is the emotional regulation and learning that happens inside of you. This is really key because patience will help you to manage the frustration that comes with learning something new and acquiring a new skill or whatever. Now, I'm going to say that again because it's so important, because it helps you. Patience will help you to manage frustration. Because raise your hand, pinkies up, whatever you want. How often have you been frustrated in this, acquiring of a new skill or a technique or learning something brand new? Doesn't it feel just odd and just weird and out there? Of course it does. But this is what the studies have shown, that emotional states can affect the rate and effectiveness of learning. So if your emotional state is brought down into a place of manageability simply because you're being patient with yourself, it's going to expedite the learning process, which is a cool thing. So you create this more conducive environment for an emotional environment anyway, for learning. That's a cool thing. So it's kind of a three-step thing. Do you see that? It's all in the brain, and then it's also in the body, because that emotional regulation and learning all is going to be affected by your body's chemistry, and your body's chemistry is affected by, and vice versa. So it's really super cool. Now, one of the things that I say that's important about this whole process is embracing patience, because I've got, I don't know, how many things do I have for you on that? Probably 4 or 5 things. And this is where we get to step into actual patience, because, to me, when we talk about, nobody likes to talk about stress. Anytime I've done anything about managing stress or whatever, nobody wants to talk. They just want to get me to the plan, get me to this. Same with patience. Nobody wants to talk about that either. But patience is a stress reducer, and it helps with so much of what we're talking about. It brings down things. It calms. It is anti-inflammatory, if you will. But to embrace patience, rather, you're going to have to also stop the negative talk. I mean, what do you think the negative talk is building? What kind of pathway is the negative talk building? So when we say things like, I can't, it's too hard, it won't work, it is a reflection of impatience, not your inability. Right? When you say, I can't, it's too hard, blah, 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 that is a reflection of the impatience that's inside of you and not your inability. You're labeling it wrong. So I play pickleball, as you know. What I found when I drill, and when you're drilling, you're just doing the same thing over and over again. So you're doing, one of the things that we do a lot is back and forth, is this thing called dinking. Now, dinking to the naked eye looks kind of easy and nothingness, but there's a real skill involved in it, and you have to practice, 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 and practice some more. Seth Godin says it takes 10,000 hours to develop mastery. 10,000 hours. I certainly have not done 10,000 hours in dinking, but when I do drill, what I'm doing is teaching muscle memory and neural pathway remembrance of what it is that I need to do next. And if I say to myself, I can't do that, it's too hard, it's sure enough, I'm at the net, I can't do it, and it is too hard. But if I say, I've got this is a skill, it can be learned. This is probably my 500th hour, let's go. Right? Do you see where I'm going with all of this? Isn't this so great that if we can have this patience with ourselves, that we can develop this kind of ability? Of course we can, because you're fearfully and wonderfully made, and you're here on purpose and for purpose. Why wouldn't you have that skill apparatus inside to do so, right? Number 2 is valuing the process over the outcome. We all want to get to the outcome. We all want to hit the apex. We all want to, rise to the occasion and stand at the top of Mount Everest, don't we? Of course we do. But if we get fixated on the end goal, we miss the process. And the process is the refiner's fire. The process is the things that teach us all the lessons that we need to know so that we can get there. And if we're impatient, we want to skip and we don't see and we don't learn. And what happens? Zzz, down the mountain we go, and we have to start over. This is why I always tell you this too about, like in a diet book or anything like that. This recent book that I just bought with Gabrielle Lyons on getting stronger, she's got a whole piece at the very front of the book. It's all on mindset. And how much do you want to bet? Most people go mindset, yeah, whatever. And they skip over and go, what's the plan so I can get stronger? How much do you want to bet? I didn't. I loved what she had to say. It was smart. It was important. And it's part of the process. The process of getting stronger requires that you have the mindset to go along with it. The process of losing the weight once and for all means that you need to have the mindset to go along with it. It's all works together. And what do you think is the most important thing that we need to wrap that whole present up in? Patience. Because the process is going to take some time. The process requires that kind of time. And then we have to understand the timeline. Remember what I said about the 10,000 hour rule? 10,000 hours. And it wasn't Seth Godin, I'm sorry, it was Malcolm Gladwell in his book Outliers, which is an excellent book if you've ever read it. But any field requires 10,000 hours of practice. And I have a friend who is an avid reader, and what he says is that when he recognizes that something that he needs to learn, for example, he was a health coach, and he found a lot of women coming in with hormonal stuff. So he went and got a book and studied it. And then he became, he understood the 10,000 rule. It just became that important. So if we can do this, we can understand the importance of patience. We can understand the importance of long-term commitment. We can understand that, yes, we'll get there if we bring our friend Patience along, right? We also need to practice mindful learning and being in the process of what it is, not just wanting to skip through and get there, but be present, be mindful, have it be a part of what it is that you do. Have it in your affirmations, have it in your meditations, and have it be a part of your life where you are taking note. That's so important. Hi, Debbie. And then, of course, learn to take breaks. We all need to take breaks. We need to take breaks, but we also need to understand that in that rest, our mind never stops, and we can always anticipate what's coming next. A gal that I do lessons with and I play with a lot here, Deb, has become a good friend. And she has, one of the things that she says, as far as when we're dinking and doing all those hours of dinking and all of that, do you know what she says, which I think is important? Sometimes you'll mess up or you won't get it through. And she said, what it is, it's not that you don't have the ability to do it. It's you don't have the patience to stay with it. This is when we want to attack or do something, but we need to wait for the right ball. This is how it is in our lives. We need to wait for the right thing and allow for the process and just keep on hitting that little ball over the net. It's just that important. And understand the multiple benefits that you get from courting, loving, cultivating patience are many. You develop resilience, you enhance your problem-solving skills. Your long-term commitment is there because you're not going to just quit an Irish goodbye. You're going to stay with it, even with the back and forths and the parts where maybe you're not doing as well. And you know what else? You understand that this new skill is a gift, because it is. It keeps giving long after you've mastered the skill, because you're going to take that into all areas of your life. It's never going to be one thing. It's never going to be, well, I just did this and that's it, and I don't need to learn how to do anything else anymore. No, that patience skill is going to show up in the areas of your life where you need it. And you cultivated when you had it, and you cultivated it when you had a goal, and watch how it just appears in all areas of your life. So remember this, that patience isn't just a process. It's the heart of it. And when you understand that, then you're going to court it, you're going to cultivate it, and you're going to look at it tenderly like a newborn baby, right? It's got to learn as you go. And if you take it with you, I promise you this, everything will change and you will stick with it. You will see it through to the end and you will realize all of your goals. All right, there you go. Patience, y'all, patience. Thank you so much for joining me today. Don't forget about Cyber Monday. We still have a ton of stuff left over from Black Friday. When it's gone, it's gone. But you can find it all at savingdata.com/Monday. That's where all the deals are. Nancy, pinky's up to you, my friend. I appreciate you. I appreciate you all. Peace be with you. Take care.
Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.